Hello and good morning. Today is Monday, August 16th, 2021. I'm Lindsay Duff and this is Responsible Day Trading. So last week I was really certain it was going to go down. But as I say, you cannot try and make things happen. You have to pay attention to what's happening and listen to that. So we'll take a look at this week and why I still kind of think it's going to go down. But we'll see. So let's go ahead and take a look at the news first because we got some big hitters. This week, we don't have anything today, but you can see that we do have some news tomorrow, some coming out. Now, this is just a speaker, but it can tend to make the market move. Now, on Wednesday, we got FOMC. FOMC lately has been hit or miss. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, of where it might slow things down and then just pop really big. So you want to be careful leading up to that. Just on that day, really, more than anything, you want to be careful leading up to that and around the time of the release. So then we have some news Thursday, but it's early and there's nothing on Friday. And guys, if you need to find news, just go to responsibledaytrading.com/calendar and market news, and you should be able to find this puppy right here. So on to the day. Okay. Now I know what this looks like. I said if this pops up, gosh, guys, watching this last week, just squeeze tighter. I was like, man, this can pop out either way. But it did go to the upside. Now, with that being said, I want you to kind of look at the way this pattern is, how it makes this tiny little peak and then pushes back down. We've seen it happen right up in here, but the difference with this one is the MACDs were already below the Bollinger Band. It happens right in here where it just barely pops above and comes back down. It happens right in here, just barely pops above, comes back down. Right here, same little look, a little bit of a pop up, just barely came back above the Bollinger Bands and popped back down. I'm gonna watch this BB. If it starts to get back below these Bollinger Bands, you better believe I'm still gonna believe in the shorts. And my brain is still in that short kind of mind. It may or may not happen, but my anticipations are to see this finally come back down into these areas. One of the things that I do like is how this EMA is getting closer and closer to this area that held us up for a very long time. So we may see something along the lines of this pulling up a little bit more closer to here and then making more of a move from that combination of the area right in here. Okay, as you can see, my mind is definitely still on the shorts, but for now, we do still have a little bit of long activity going on. So let's go ahead and take a look. And I just like to look at these bigger charts because they're not quite the daily chart and they still give me a little bit of indication of what we're looking for in the long run. So looking at the 28,657, yes, the bias is still to the upside. We're above the EMAs, we're above the zero line. We've pulled back into an area that really says, hey, this is where we bounce back to the upside. We've come down to this with a little bit of strength before and it still bounced off of there. The BBs are a little bit lighter here, but they haven't even darkened up from the move that happened up here. So, as I said, the bias is still to the upside. We're above the EMAs, which are open to the upside, and we're above the zero line. So until that changes, really need to stay in the mindset of long. Let's look at the 10,946. All right. 10,946 also still has a bias to the upside. Now it's trying to move that bias to the downside by having the MACDs underneath the zero line, but we're still sitting at that EMA, which remember, this large EMA on the 10,946 is that small EMA on the 28,657. So when we pull that up and look at it, you can see that small EMA right here is the large EMA on the 10-946. So of course, these are going to be sitting at the same area. But as I said, you can see on the 10-946 how it's starting to break below the zero line, which is a sign for more down. But we want to be back below both the zero line and the 2 EMAs in order to really say this is going down. So let's just look at our next 3 tick charts. Now I do have my bigger ones here because I do see some bigger moves happening. Man, Friday was like molasses. I mean, just look at how little amount of moves we've had in a 1-day period. Now it moved a lot to the upside here, but just very, very small movement in these last couple of days. So you can even see Friday, it was just really, really stuck right there. We already see more movement in this overnight action, or more wider, bigger movements in this overnight action than we have in the last couple of days, really. Now, if we look here, we can see the 1597, the 4181, the 233. They've already broken back below the zero line and the EMAs. So these have an immediate direction of down, while the bigger tick charts have the immediate direction of up. So it is a little bit of, I don't want to say wishy-washy feeling, but right now this is trying to say, hey, even though those bigger tick charts say more up, right now we're trying to push down. The only issue I see right now is the fact that we have made some big moves to the downside, and the MACDs are really struggling to say the same thing. So if we see this pull down to that bottom Bollinger Band, roll off of it, and continue this move to the upside, we'll see it kind of readjust and just correct and move back up. You can even see here on the 4181, there's a little bit of divergence here. It doesn't mean that it's going to the downside completely just yet. I'm sorry, it doesn't mean that it's going to the upside completely just yet. This could very easily roll down and exceed that area. So this is just anticipations if it's going to continue up, what I'm expecting to happen for that. But man, I think we may finally see, may finally see that move back to the downside. So coming back to the daily chart, I just want to remind you of that look of the pattern. Even though this is back above the Bollinger Band, you can see that we haven't really even just barely broken back above, just barely. And I have to really enhance it to see that it's broken back above. And it's giving a little bit of that MACD dip look where it pulls in really, really hard. So I guess we're just going to have to keep an eye on it. Just trade what we see. We can see right now it's still trying to push down on the 1597, 233, and 4181. So the bigger tick charts haven't quite rolled over with it. So we may see a little bit of an argument between the two areas. So that's my thought process for today. Yes, right now we do still have longer term to the upside. The shorter term tick charts have already moved to the downside. There's an opportunity for down. I said that last week too. So really we just want to trade what we see. That's what it really, really, really comes down to, is just trading what we see and, going from there. So I still have some work to do. I'm looking to try and pick up and start either tomorrow or Wednesday. We'll see how it goes. But that's with the FOMC right there. But we'll trade what we can early in the day. So I hope that everybody has the most wonderful of weeks. And guys, just remember, stay in the moment. Don't try and predict what's going to happen, hours and hours from now. Just stay in the moment, see what's happening at that exact moment and trade that. That's the only way that we can stay in the game. So I hope that everybody has a wonderful week. And as always, you know that I look forward to catching you on the profitable side.